It was a Tuesday afternoon, the kind where the rain just won't stop drumming against the window. I was sitting in my usual booth at the diner on Main Street, nursing a black coffee and reading the paper. The place was about half full, mostly locals looking for a warm meal and a break from the wet weather. The bell above the door chimed, and an old man walked in. He looked rough. There's no other way to say it. His coat was 3 sizes too big and soaked through. His boots were muddy, and his gray hair was plastered to his forehead. He walked with a heavy limp, dragging his left leg a little as he made his way to the counter. He didn't look at anyone. He just kept his head down, clutching a small handful of coins in a shaking hand. He sat on a stool at the far end of the counter, trying to make himself as small as possible. "Just a coffee, please," he said. His voice was raspy, like he hadn't used it in days. "And maybe some crackers, if they're free." I watched him. I think a lot of us were watching him. It breaks your heart a little to see someone counting pennies just to get warm. But before the waitress could even pour him a cup, the manager came storming out of the kitchen. He was a new guy, young and always stressed out, wearing a tie that was too tight. He took one look at the old man and wrinkled his nose. "You can't be in here," the manager said loudly. The diner went quiet. The gentle clatter of forks and spoons stopped. The old man looked up, startled. I have money for coffee, sir." He opened his hand to show the wet coins. "It's not about the coffee." The manager snapped. "Look at you. You're dripping water everywhere. You smell like wet dog. You're bad for business. We have families eating here." My stomach turned. It was cruel. The old man wasn't hurting anyone. He was just cold. "Please," the old man whispered. "I'll drink it fast. My bones. The rain hurts my bones." "Not my problem," the manager said, pointing at the door. "Get out. Now, before I call the police to help you out." The old man's shoulders slumped. He didn't argue. He just nodded slowly, his hand closing back over his coins. He began to slide off the stool, looking so ashamed that I wanted to look away, but I couldn't. I wanted to say something, but I froze. I think we all froze. It's a terrible feeling, knowing you should speak up, but being afraid to cause a scene. But there was a table in the back corner that wasn't afraid. 6 men had been eating there. I had noticed them earlier because they took up a lot of space. They were big guys, fit, broad shoulders, short haircuts, and they carried themselves with a kind of quiet confidence that you don't see every day. They were laughing and joking earlier, but now they were dead silent as the old man turned to leave. A scraping sound cut through the silence. It was the sound of 6 chairs sliding back at the exact same moment. One by one, the men stood up. They were tall, imposing, and serious. They didn't look like guys you wanted to mess with. I found out later they were Navy SEALs passing through town. After a training exercise nearby, the manager stopped pointing at the door. He looked at the 6 men, his eyes going wide. The man who seemed to be the leader, a guy with a thick beard and eyes that looked like they could see right through you, stepped forward. He didn't yell. He didn't have to. His voice was calm, but it commanded the entire room. "Sir," the leader said to the old man, "please, don't leave." The old man stopped, confused. He said, "I have to go." The leader turned his gaze to the manager. "Is that right? He has to go." The manager stammered, "Well, he's... Look at him." "I am looking at him," the soldier said. He walked over to the old man. He didn't look at the dirt or the wet clothes. He looked at a small, faded pin attached to the collar of the old man's oversized coat. It was barely visible, but the soldier saw it. "That's a silver star pin," the soldier said softly. The room went completely silent. The old man touched the collar of his coat with a trembling finger. "Vietnam," the old man whispered. 1968. But that was a long time ago. The leader shook his head. "No, sir. That is forever." The soldier turned back to the manager. The manager looked like he wanted to disappear into the floor. "This man," the soldier said, his voice hard as steel, "cleared the path so guys like us could walk. You're worried about him getting your floor wet. He crawled through mud and blood for this country." The manager opened his mouth, but nothing came out. "We are buying his lunch," another one of the SEALs said, stepping up. "Anything he wants. And he is eating with us." The leader gently placed a hand on the old man's shoulder. "Sir, would you do us the honor of joining our table? We'd love to hear your story." The old man's eyes filled with tears. He looked from the angry manager to the 6 strong men standing like a wall around him. For the first time since he walked in, he stood up a little straighter. The shame vanished, replaced by a flicker of dignity I hadn't seen before. I would like that very much," the old man said. They guided him to their large booth in the back. They pulled up an extra chair. They didn't just buy him coffee, they ordered him a steak, soup, pie, everything. And they didn't ignore him. They leaned in, listening to every word he said. They treated him like a king. The manager retreated into the kitchen and didn't come back out. I sat there in my booth, my coffee getting cold, watching them. I saw the old man smile, a real, genuine smile that reached his eyes. For an hour, he wasn't a homeless man that people wanted to kick out. He was a brother. He was a hero. When I finally paid my bill and walked out into the rain, the world felt a little different. It was still wet and gray, but I felt warm on the inside. I learned something that day. You can tell a lot about a person by how they treat those who have nothing to offer them. And sometimes, the strongest people in the room are the ones who stand up for the weak.